Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and good evening to all of our friends coming in from around the world. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the third day of our conference, the Middle East and the New U.S. Administration, organized by our Foreign Policy Program at Brookings and the Center for Middle East Policy. I'm truly honored and delighted to introduce His Majesty King Abdullah II ibn al-Hussein of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, who'll be joining us via a pre-recorded video shortly. I had the great honor and the pleasure of receiving His Majesty's thoughts and guidance while I was working on the Israeli-Palestinian peace plan, and again later when serving as a special envoy under President Obama. And I know King Abdullah and Jordan to be steadfast friends and a vital partner of the United States in the region. More, His Majesty King Abdullah was the inaugural speaker when Brookings launched the Center for Middle East Policy back in 2002. Therefore, it's only fitting that he would join us today as the center marks another major milestone, the conclusion of a successful first year of its project on sources of Middle East instability. Following the King's address, we'll then be joined by Her Excellency Ambassador Dina Kowar, Ambassador of Jordan to the United States. Ambassador Kowar was appointed to her current position in June of 2016 after a long and distinguished diplomatic career, having most recently served as the permanent representative of Jordan to the United Nations from 2014 to 2016. And she'll be joined on our virtual stage by my colleague and friend, Bruce Riddell, who's a senior fellow in the Center for Middle East Policy with over 3 decades of distinguished service in the U.S. government, including service in the White House under 4 different administrations. He's also an accomplished author and will be releasing an excellent book shortly on U.S.-Jordanian relations, and it'll come out later this year. So with that, I am delighted to turn the camera over to the pre-recorded address by His Majesty King Abdullah II ibn al-Hussein.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear friends, thank you for the invitation to speak today. It is my pleasure to join you again, this time virtually at the Brookings Institution. Your Center for Middle East Policy plays a great role in enabling U.S. policymakers to better understand our part of the world. The United States is, of course, no stranger to the Middle East, and its leadership is key to regional security and stability. We are heartened by President Biden's renewed commitment to international engagement. In these difficult times, America's balanced voice and values are greatly needed to restore momentum to a partnership-based global system that puts health and well-being of all peoples at the heart of its priorities. And the United States will always have a steady partner in Jordan. Our relationship is a friendship and a joint commitment that extends over 7 decades. It is a relationship we have proudly built together over the years. The most immediate challenge is COVID-19. This devastating pandemic has robbed our world of over 2 million precious lives. But we may be able to avoid further tragedy and high mortality rates by ensuring the equitable distribution of vaccines around the world. We cannot afford to leave anyone behind. And Jordan is doing its part, and we have once again stepped up to the plate and included refugees in our national COVID response and vaccine distribution plan. The first refugee in the world to receive the vaccine for free was in Jordan. Even if the stories of refugees have slipped from the 24-hour news cycle, the world must be reminded that the crisis is far from over. Supporting the international agencies at the forefront of relief efforts, the World Health Organization, the UNHCR, and UNRWA, is essential to enable them to assist vulnerable communities in averting the far-reaching implications of the pandemic on health, livelihoods, education, and food security. All threats, though now lurking beneath the surface, also continue to haunt our world. Directing our attention and resources to countering the pandemic has taken away from our focus on fighting terrorism and extremism. Although the battle may be won, the war is not yet over. Rising inequalities and emerging crises caused by the pandemic will fuel the recruitment efforts of ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, and Al-Qaeda. In addition to the economic and humanitarian effects of COVID, the region continues to cope with the ramifications of conflict and displacement in countries like Syria and Yemen. We look once again to U.S. leadership and cooperation with its partners in the Middle East and elsewhere to counter these threats. My friends, when I had the pleasure of addressing your esteemed institution at the inauguration of your Center for Middle East Policy 19 years ago, I spoke about the need to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the core issue in the Middle East. And I am sure your scholars have written countless papers about this very topic since. So you can only imagine the frustration of the people still living in the midst of this protracted conflict, unable to move forward. Occupation and peace simply cannot coexist. The Palestinian people have a right to an independent, viable, and sovereign state on the June 4th, 1967 lines, to live alongside Israel in peace and security. There is no alternative to the two-state solution, and continued unilateral steps will only kill the prospects of peace. Occupation, injustice, despair, apartheid. History has shown us there are no winners in this formula, only losers and tragedy. There is an opportunity to build on recent positive developments, and we need to restore hope in the viability of peace and bring our youth closer to a future that for so long has been tantalizingly out of reach. And the United States leadership here is essential. Jordan will always be ready to play its part in any effort to relaunch peace negotiations, and we remain committed to the Hashemite custodianship of Islamic and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem, to safeguard the city's character. Preserving Jerusalem as the city of faith and peace is a responsibility that we all share. So, my friends, Jordan this year marks its centennial as a state. In these past 100 years, we have learned to navigate numerous regional and global crises. We have gained the spirit of resilience and confidence that moves us today. But we have also learned that ongoing injustice in our region will continue to hold us back. Prosperity in the Middle East and its positive dividends for the whole world cannot come to fruition without peace. It is time to turn towards conflict resolution, not management, and focus on the end goal instead of losing ourselves in the process. We owe this to our world. So let us learn from past mistakes and take the higher path of peace.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos from Brookings.